But most importantly, is that beard staying for the fight?
Everyone asked that same question. I think the beard's coming off. I was rushing down from Flagstaff. I don't want to waste any time at sea level. I wanted to stay in elevation, so we didn't leave Flagstaff to the very last minute to go down to Phoenix and catch the plane.
Right.
I didn't have time to shave it off. I'm thinking I'm gonna probably shave it off. I'm gonna go on Twitter, and all my tweets who are following right now will have a vote. See if you guys want to keep it or shave it off. Well, we can vote for it, guys.
Fans make the call, huh?
Exactly.
Well, obviously you've gotten ready for this fight before, man. But is there any different feel to it at all this time around between being champion and being a challenger?
No, it feels pretty much the same. Going into a fight, for me personally, I can't speak for all the other fighters, but for me personally, when you go into a fight, you're going into a fight. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're the first fight on the main card, whether you're the main event, whether it's your first fight in the UFC, whether it's a fight to see who wins. The winner goes to the UFC. It just doesn't matter. With a rematch, it doesn't matter. You have to win all your fights, period. Plain and simple. It's redundant. I know every fighter says it. I say it all the time. But I don't need any extra motivation. It's not, oh, well, this is my first time on the main card. This is my first time on pay-per-view. This is my first blah, blah. All that doesn't matter. It's just all that matters is winning fights.
When you look back to that first fight with Frankie, obviously you got to be happy that you won, but are you happy with the way the fight went, your performance, how you executed that night?
I wasn't thrilled. I was happy, obviously, to get a W. I was thankful to get the W. I was happy. I thought I earned it pretty well, so I was happy to actually get it. And then, but I wasn't ecstatic about my performance. I don't think it was the greatest performance. I was actually kind of disappointed in my Clay Guida fight. The performance of my Clay Guida fight. I was disappointed in the Frankie Edgar fight. The last fight, I was actually afterwards, I felt like I did well, was Jim Miller and I guess Bocek's. Those two fights I felt I actually performed well. My last two fights I didn't really perform up to what I expected myself.
Pretty high standards. Those were good fights.
I hold all Hendersons up to very high standards, myself included.
You know, when you were in the WEC, you made it very clear that you weren't interested in giving guys rematches when you were holding the belt, and now when Frankie, after the Frankie fight, right away you said, well, was that just because it was WEC?
I think it's kind of two different questions. Am I interested in giving rematches? No, not really. I don't want to fight the same guys I've already beaten and stuff. I like to face new challenges. But that being said, am I interested in fighting whoever Dana White puts in front of me? Absolutely. I have no problems about fighting whoever. It can be the same guy 10 in a row, if that's what Dana White says, is that what Joe Silva and Sean Shelby say? If the fans want to see me fight the same guy 10 times in a row, then I'll do that. Am I super interested in that, me personally? No, not really, but I'm more than happy to fight whoever they place in front of me.
You know, a lot of people make one of the storylines coming in is that Frankie Edgar is really great in rematches. He comes back and he wins the second fight more concisively, than the first, and then he was BJ and against Gray. What do you make of that? If you watch the fights, and does he make some real solid adjustments, or does he just happen to have a better night on the second time?
No, I think he is a better fighter in the rematches. He's a tough fighter. We all know. It's no surprise here. Frankie's tough as heck. In his rematches, he's awesome. His coaching staff, his coaches, his training partners, they do a great job of preparing him. His Mark Henry, is that his name?
Yeah.
Mark Henry, Ricardo Almeida, great coaches. God bless them. They put together a great game plan for Frankie for his rematches. He does a great job of going in there and implementing that game plan, of actually getting it done. So hats off to him, his corners. He's tough as heck in rematches. We all know that. That's no secret.
How long did you spend up at Flagstaff? Did you go up there immediately? Did you spend the whole camp up there?
We didn't do the whole camp up there. We asked around. We asked around a lot to find out what the best time is to stay up there. They say a month is best to get acclimated to high altitude. 2 weeks is too short. It doesn't really do anything for you. There's no actual effect. Your body hasn't acclimated yet. 3 weeks is the shortest amount of time they recommend going up to high altitude to train for high altitude. So I did 2.5 weeks in Flagstaff. I'll do a week here in Denver, so altogether it'll be 3.5 weeks for me at high altitude. So I should be fine. I did Flagstaff is actually 7,000 feet, it's a little bit higher than Denver, so I should be fully acclimated and good to go. I was 2.5 weeks in Flagstaff, a week here, so altogether 3.5 weeks or whatever at altitude.
How much of a part of your game plan is just preparing for this altitude, and are you going to be able to keep the same kind of pace you guys had in the first fight in this one?
I'd say it's about the same for all my fights. I always want to push the pace. I always want to use my cardio as a weapon. I always want to get the guy tired, wear him down. That being said, here in Denver, in high altitude, hopefully I'm able to do that even more. We'll see.
the bigger adjustment, going to Japan to fight or coming here to fight?
Japan. Japan was kind of crazy. I liked it. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. But Japan, fighting overseas, logistically, is a nightmare. Getting my mom over there, getting my brother over there, getting my coaching staff, my training partners. It's logistically a nightmare.
What adjustments do you expect him to make? Do you even think about something like that, or do you just worry about what you're doing? Or do you have conversations in the gym of like, you know, this is probably something he's going to work on. He might do this a little bit differently. Do you talk about those?
No, we have conversations about it for sure. You know, we think about what he might do, what he could do. But the problem with that is you can't go too in depth. You can't be like, oh, what's he going to do? He might do this. He might do this. He might do that. He might do this. You drive yourself crazy. We find the best approach is to worry about ourselves. What are we going to do? How are we going to implement our game plan, our will in the fight, in the rematch? So it's all about, you know, ourselves fixing our holes, making our holes smaller, trying to capitalize on his holes. Obviously, his holes hopefully I'm assuming they'll be smaller or different from the first fight. But hopefully, you know, all you can do is concentrate on those holes that he had in the first fight, and hopefully they're still there in the second fight and capitalize.
You talked a lot about being physically prepared. How do you prepare mentally and also spiritually? Is that a minute or two?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, above physically, it's I don't know, maybe 20% of the fight game. For me, it's all about being mentally, spiritually, emotionally prepared. Physical, that's the easy part. That's no problem. You know exactly what you need to do physically to get ready. Do this many push-ups, do this many wind sprints, do this for the blah blah, do this for your boxing, do this for your strength conditioning, do this for your wrestling. But mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what's the blueprint for that? How do you get ready for that? How do you prepare yourself? Everyone's different. You know, I'm different from a lot of my training partners, Chris Macher, Efrain Escudera, Yadi Meza, all these guys. You know, everyone's a little bit different. So preparing to get ready for a fight is hard. It's really only trial and error. You gotta try it one way. Maybe it works for you one fight. You know, maybe you lose. Maybe it doesn't work for you. Next fight, you gotta try something different. But it's a constantly evolving something you work on every fight. Something I personally work on every fight to make sure I'm a little bit better, a little more prepared going into the next fight.
Ben, Japanese TV.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
I remember.
How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
You beat Frankie in Japan. Can you tell me about that? How your experience was?
That was cool. It was a fun fight. It was good to head over there. My second time to Japan. It was fun. It was. I had a good time. You know, getting the W on top of all of that was made it even sweeter.
How did you feel about the decision, your game?
I thought it was good. You know, I thought the decision. You know, I thought I won. I felt I had earned the W, so I was happy with the decision.
And how do you feel about the rematch on Saturday?
I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
Looking into the camera, can you give us a message to your Japanese fans?
To all the Japanese fans, thank you guys for your support in February. I hope I have your continued support, your continued love going into Saturday night. Thank you guys for everything, and hopefully I'll be back out there and fighting for you guys again. Cool. Yeah.
We good, guys?